Welcome to episode 6 of the LexisNexis COVID-19 podcast series. My name is Fanaka Chidakwa. I'm the external author for Lexis Assure product for Zambia. I'm going to take you through the regulatory changes that have occurred in Zambia as a response to the impact of the COVID-19 situation. Government has moved to give relief to businesses and institutions during this period. The first change that has occurred has been to do with the tax regime. We've had a waiver of tax penalties and interest on outstanding tax liabilities resulting from the impact of COVID-19. There's also been legislation that has come up to give tax relief. That's zero rating of value-added tax and suspension of customs and excise duty on specified items. Some of these items that have been affected are spare parts and lubricants and stationery, medical supplies related to COVID-19, as well as ethanol alcohol that is used to produce sanitizers, precious stones, copper ores, copper concentrates, diesel and oil, raw hides, crocodile skins, among others that have been given this relief. There's also been a remission of income tax for minorities for specified companies. Employment, there's also been a regulatory change in that regard. This has basically been to give exemptions to employers and employees when it comes to compliance with matters that are related to annual leave and leave entitlements, matters related to termination of a contract of employment due to redundancy, matters related to overtime, payment to gratuity, and there's also been special consideration given to employers that are in the agricultural sector and in the domestic sector. In the financial sector, there's also been some changes. There's been an introduction of a tax invoice management system and also a placing of an obligation on businesses to use electronic physical devices. There's also been changes to do with the way loans are classified and given by banks. A regulation that gave them more like guidelines has been revoked to allow them or give them sufficient flexibility to give loans and provide relief to the private sector and also provide for long-term funding. There's also been a prohibition of charges and fees for use of electronic platforms, that is between banks and other financial service providers and customers. All unwarranted charges have been removed, including also a bit of a zero rating for electronic transfers for amounts that are below 150 kwacha. There's also been an introduction of input tax on use of internet services and a waiver of all taxes and charges that come with these electronic platforms. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.